Hello and welcome back to Good Sport Reviews. My name is Lewis, and today I'm going to be giving my thoughts on Ivan Toney, another player linked with Liverpool in this whirlwind of transfer speculation, manager speculation, everything to do with the club at the moment up in the air. We don't know who the owner's going to be. We don't know who the sporting director's going to be, the manager, who's staying, who's going, who's coming in. We have no idea. But one player who has been told is going to be leaving in summer is Ivan Toney. Thomas Franks came out and said Toney is going to go in summer. There's nothing we can do. It just looks inevitable he's going to move on to another club, and whether it's going to be Arsenal, Chelsea, maybe Man United, maybe City, Tottenham, Liverpool are probably going to have hit their name touted around it as well. They're probably going to be in the conversation because Ivan Toney is a self-proclaimed Liverpool fan. He's supported them from when he was a child. Liverpool going into this big transition period, new manager, new group of players going to be coming in, players are going to be leaving, let's face it. Is Ivan Toney someone who we should look to for the future? Is he someone that we should look to bring in to further our stake as a core member of the Premier League title race going forward? And is he someone who could contribute to the team? He could contribute to the team, but my initial thought is I do not want Ivan Toney, and there's a few different factors in this. Now, just want to give some clarification. I think Ivan Toney is a great player. I think he's a very talented natural finisher. He's scored everything, volleys, half volleys, headers. He's a very instinctive striker, very physically strong, quick on the ball, knows where to position himself. He's got very, very good ability to put himself in the right spot to receive service from other players. He's a poacher in some regards, but he can score a plethora of different goals. A talented player, England international, has been banned for a good few months due to betting scandals. But he's back and he scored 2 goals, including that incredible free kick in his first game back not too long ago. And yeah, he's a good player. He's a very talented player. He's someone who I think clubs like Arsenal would benefit from. Chelsea, maybe, if they can get things going in the right direction. The only or one of the reasons I'm not a big Ivan Toney proprietor for Liverpool is the fee. Ivan Toney is going to command high money. He's going to be valued of around 70 to 100 million pounds, and for a striker who I believe is 27 going on 28, that is a lot of money. And it's not to say Ivan Toney in some regard isn't worth that money. It's not to say in the modern landscape when players are worth triple the value they were 5 years ago. And that's not to say he's not worth 70 million. 70 million now can buy you. Mudrick, for example, was nearly 100 million. There's many examples of players who go for that value who don't contribute what Toney contributes to Brentford. But Liverpool are very much a sell to buy club. We need to bring money in before we can invest that money. As we saw with Coutinho leaving, as we've seen with Luis Suarez leaving, as I discussed in the last video, if Salah was to leave, the money for that would go towards rebuilding the squad for the next manager to come in. Ivan Toney splashing the cash on that kind of player for anything above 70 million is a lot. That's a big expenditure, and it's not something that we necessarily need when at the current time we have 6 attacking players. We have Jota, Gakpo, Nunez, Diaz, Salah, and we've also got Bendo, who's going to be coming into the squad. Kate Gordon's developing brilliantly. Owen Beck is still around there. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for us to be investing that kind of money on someone who is not going to be a necessity, not someone we desperately need. On top of this as well, like I mentioned, the age is a factor. Now, I did a video in the LC transfer room recently where someone mentioned that we need to start bringing in ready-made players, players who are ready to hit the ground running. Ivan Toney is that. He is technically that age. He's got that ability to come in to a team and get things going. He's a goal scorer. He's great in the air. He can provide a lot of different options. But is he going to play the way Liverpool want to play? Is he going to be and this is going to be different when the new manager comes in, so this could be blown out the water. But if he was to come into this team as it stands at the moment, we're a pressing team. The Gegen press, we are continuously running and moving. Toney is not that type of player for Brentford. He's a bit more of Harry Kane for Tottenham sometimes, or was, where he would tend to just linger around the front and the balls would come to him. Not to say Kane never came back and pressed, not to say he never came back and tackled, but it's not Ivan Toney's game. It's not the thing that he's known for. He's a goal scorer. And the system might be different. Maybe Thomas Frank makes it so that that's the case because we've seen how hard Brentford work elsewhere on the pitch. But our forwards press. Nunez presses, he runs back, he tracks back and defends. Diaz constantly covers the left back position. Mo Salah's doing it more and more, covering the right back position. Gakpo operates as a false nine. There's a lot of reasons why Toney would not fit the system. And arguably the new manager coming in, whether it be Alonso, Nagelsmann, Hansi Flick, De Zerbi, Thomas Frank, whoever comes in, might want that striker, especially if it's Thomas Frank. But at the moment, we don't know what type of system we're going to be playing going forward. If it's like every other club, it's going to be a very possession-based type of game, very low risk, high reward kind of system, similar to the way City do it, control the tempo of the game and put the ball into the attacker rather than relying on him to beat everyone and score. Toney would benefit from that, definitely, when the new manager comes in. But if it's a manager who wants a pressing forward line, someone who wants energy throughout the team, like Xabi Alonso, Toney is not going to be a beneficiary of that. He's going to be a hindrance more than anything in the team. And we have to consider this fact when looking at summer targets. We've been linked to Johan Bakayoko. We've been linked to a plethora of talents, but we can't bring anyone in yet because we don't know who's going to be coming in. Or if the club do, they're keeping it very close to their chest, which is fine. If it is Alonso, he might benefit. Toney is not going to be a beneficiary of the Alonso system, I don't think. But if it's someone like Thomas Frank, he would be. Now, not to say he isn't a great player. 20 goals last season, 11 at home, 9 away. He's scored goals against City, he scored goals against Chelsea, he scored goals against Liverpool. He scores in the big games. He's a big game player. He got one hat-trick last season, and on 3 instances, he got 2 or more goals in a game. He's a terrific penalty taker. That's another thing that has to be factored in. I think he's only missed 1, and it was against Newcastle last season or earlier this. I can't quite think. It was last season. So that's something as well that needs to be considered. On top of that, this is stats from last season. He was averaging 2.37 shots per 90, 73 in total. So 73 shots, 20 goals. That's one in every 3, just under 1 in every 3. 4 assists as well on top of that. If we're looking at just from the air, he's averages 3.24 per 90. Aerial duels 1, which is 92% in the Premier League. Ground duels, he's wins 6.62. He's a very physically demanding player, top 88%. Ground duels 1, that is. Ground duels 14.43, top 91%. If it is, we could turn him into a pressing machine. He could be very good, definitely. But is he going to do that? His tackles, 0.68 per game. I know he's a striker, but you look at our attackers, they tackle, they come back and defend. And I don't know if Toney is going to do that. I don't know if that's something that he could be taught. I don't know if that's something he necessarily has in him to be able to do at this stage in his career. And don't forget as well, as a player who's been banned for a few months due to betting allegation. Liverpool, historically, or recently, should I say even, do not bring in players with a reputation, players who could be a disturbance. If Ivan Toney was to come in and he repeats these betting problems, who's to say he doesn't get banned for 8 months again? I know it's harsh criticism to say he could do this again. He might do, though. We just don't know. And for me, I'd rather not take the risk. A lot of money that could be invested elsewhere in the squad. A player who, fantastic and talented, might not suit the system. And I also just think that the money needs to go elsewhere in this team. It needs to be invested in the back line. We have a plethora of attacking options, as I've said a magnitude of times in this video. Plenty of depth, plenty of players available. Toney is not one that we need. Just a quick video giving my thoughts on it. If you are new around here, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much.